What's going on, music producers? It's Curtis King of CurtisKingBeats.com, and today we're going to be doing a drum tutorial on the song King's Dead off of the Black Panther soundtrack. Of course, that has Future, it has J-Rock and Kendrick Lamar. And the reason why I chose this one today, many of you were requesting it within my comments, but the thing that's really interesting about these drums is that especially new producers, there's a lot of sounds that they use that you don't necessarily hear the complexities in it until you break them down piece by piece. So the particular space we're going to focus on is going to be this breakdown right here in King's Dead.
I ain't gonna hold you, I ain't gonna pressure, never control you. I ain't gonna front you, keep it 100, I don't know you. Boss like top dog, boss my life up, crossing over. Stutter stepping, got a Hall of Fame and on my poster.
So as you can tell, when you listen to it, it sounds like there's not a whole lot going on. I mean, I think the first thing that stands out is probably those really muddy 808s. The next thing that stands out is that reverb that's kind of flying off of that wood block sound or that snare sound that they use. So let me show you what I did with it, and then I'm going to break down pretty much how it sounds. So based upon that, let's listen to this now. Okay, first matter of business, what I actually started off with was that wood block, because if you listen to it, listen to the original sample.
I ain't gonna hold you, I ain't gonna pressure, never control you.
My wood block might be slightly higher than theirs, which is an easy fix because I can just take down the tone a little bit more if I wanted to. Actually, I enjoy where that was at. So first thing you want to do is make sure that you match that up, match the tones of the wood block. Now, the way that I got that echo to kind of jump off of there, because when you listen to the original sound, what you're going to hear like almost like a deeper snare sound that will just lower it down, and then the wood block pretty much takes over what the naked ear is hearing. So let me let you hear some of the layers that I have. So the first layer is obviously this wood block. Okay. Pretty straightforward. Now the reverb that I put on this is actually two reverbs. One is a Fruity Reverb 2. Where you at? There you go, right here. So you can check some of these presets that I had. I had basically the dry level pushed all the way up. I experimented with taking this down because it made the snare a little bit less prevalent, but I enjoyed it. Kind of sounded like that because it sounded really similar to the actual record. The decay is pretty strong than what you normally hear from the decay on a reverb or a snare. The high cut is a little bit low. So you can look at these settings if you want right here. Go ahead and pause that and come back to it. So then that was the first thing. The next thing that I did was I did some slight EQing on it. So if you listen to it, I brought this high up because if you hear it without it, this is what it sounds like. Sounds like there's nothing to it. But as I listened to the original sample, I noticed that there were some things that were missing that I think would add more to it. One being the snare instrument. So I chose a tighter snare, or I tighten up a snare. It's a pretty generic snare that I basically tightened up here. I took the delay all the way down. I took the attack time. I had the hold slightly on there just so I could get the sweet part of that snare. And then once I did that, I found another rim instrument. You can listen to this here. Just to give it more of that deeper tone that I heard within the original beat, right? So I probably would even turn this down slightly more. So there's that. There's a snare. That was the dominant thing. The kicks. Now, the thing that made the kicks interesting in this is that if you listen to the original, there's these, I believe it's the 1/3. Which one is this? Let's see. Let's experiment with this. Because you can see right here is what I did, the actual break of that. But let's see. Let's see what this is. Is this 1/4? So yes, we did a 1/4 split on that. And if you don't know, you can do that. You basically highlight this section, push Control U, and it'll automatically split that up. But this is what the actual drum sounds by itself. And actually on second listen, I did the same thing here. which was the envelope and shaping. Basically, I made it really thin for that kick. It still gets the thump out of the kick, but I made it pretty thin right here so I don't get so much of that air in there. But one thing that I probably would do now in listening to it is, and here's the preset that I did with the parametric equalizer, but I probably would strip some of this high off of the kick and make it a steep one. Because really you want the star of this drum loop. It seems like they wanted the star of the drum loop to literally be the 808s, right? The 808s and that snare. So then that's how I had the kick. That's pretty much how it's organized. Pretty straightforward. It's a really thumpy kick, but once you get this, so the next matter of business for me was the hi-hats. So let's do the hi-hats. Once again, another 1/4 step cut on that. So that was that. And then we have some percussion sounds here that play along with it. Actually, these are like layered on top of one another. So if you listen to one of the layers, they obviously use one of these 808 percussions. I've heard that before. So then what I did was I layered that with it because I felt like it was more sounds that weren't coming out of this particular instrument that I felt like this could really account for. And I use an orchestral percussion kit, or Orchestral Essentials Contact Library for this particular sound. Because I just like how real it sounds. But with that, when you play those together, it almost gives more depth to this other sound. Now, we're not worried so much about the piano and whatnot. I mean, it's pretty generic piano. So you got that, but here we get to the 808s. Now, I didn't get the 808s perfect, but what I did notice is that it's one of those 808s that I particularly kind of stay away from just because I don't like the way they sound all the time, but it's one that is really muddy and heavy in that 808. I'm trying to figure out what kit did I actually get this from. We can go ahead and open that. This was from a Decap, actually. Decap Volume 2, Drums That Knock. Not to be confused with my big drums knocking, but I really saw that 808 sitting in there. I shaped this one pretty uniquely, not like how I did the kick. I took the delay all the way down, the attack all the way down. I kept the hold up. I had the decay halfway up, and then the release is slightly there because it does bleed a little bit into each other's, each instrument bleeds. But from there, I basically did the keys. So it's that C and that G sharp. Actually, let me solo that. Now, mine is not as subby as the original one is, and it's not necessarily my level of expertise with those particular 808s, but I'm sure there's things that you can apply to it. Let me show you the things that I applied to it, and shout out to the homie BusyWorks. A lot of the stuff that I have within my 808s, even that I use today, are from a lot of his tutorials. So shout out to him for even telling me to get on it when it comes to these tutorials. But first thing that I did was I centered all the focus on the sub and bass frequency. I took away all the pretty parts of the 808, or the prettier high harmonic parts. I took this old sausage fattener, pause. Shout out to what's the dude name? Oh my God! Shout out to the DJ who was like, it just makes it fatter, whatever he said. But shout out to him. And then I put this this wave. Which one is this one? This is the wave. Not the max bass, the R bass. That's what it is. Took the R bass, the big bottoms preset, the sausage fattener. I give a little bit of fattening, a little bit of color in there. And then here is where I basically put the L2 And these are the settings that I use for that. Okay, so then as I had that there, this is what we basically came up with. And yeah, we could play both of them side by side. So I'm just playing. Okay, here's the original again.
I ain't gon' hold you. I ain't gon' pressure, never control you. I ain't gon' front you. Keep it 100, I don't know you.
All right, take it, switch it, mute it. I don't know, that's pretty damn close, but that was my video breakdown drum tutorial of King's Dead. I definitely enjoyed this soundtrack as a whole, or this project that was inspired by the movie and whatnot, but this was definitely something that I greatly enjoyed. If you guys enjoy this, you want to hear more tutorials or see more breakdowns of the drums, I got a few coming already that were requested. Please leave it in the comments below. If this is your first time seeing one of my videos and you want to see more, be a part of the notification gang. And you already know what to do. Get on that subscribe, my friends. That being said, this is Curtis King of CurtisKingBeats.com. Have a good one.